Earth Day 2008.
Hi, my name's Mike, and we're using Earth Day today to actually sort of celebrate and share some of the stuff that we've been doing over the past couple of years. One real simple thing that we do is just use cloth bags when we go to the grocery store, and of course we tend to be forgetful, so we keep them in the car so we don't forget to bring them to the store. Right. Okay, when we first bought our house, the strip between the sidewalk and the curb was all this solid concrete, and so none of the water could get into the ground, and it's obviously not doing anything for the oxygen and the CO2. So what we did is rip all this out. So now instead of concrete, we have these nice California poppies. They're natives, so we don't have to water them. They belong here and they grow just fine. And we also planted this sycamore tree. It needs a little water the first couple of years, but it also is appropriate for this area. So now instead of all the water running into the gutter, it actually gets absorbed, and plus we've got some nice plants here that are helping to absorb the CO2 and stuff, and it looks a lot prettier as well. One of the first things we did when we moved into the house was to replace practically every light bulb in the house with a compact fluorescent. And the bulbs now look nice enough that even in these nice old-fashioned fixtures, well, these aren't just old-fashioned, they're actually old, you can still use the compact fluorescents and they look nice. Okay, another thing that we did soon after we bought the house was to put in a bunch of these occupancy detector switches, which turn the lights out automatically if there's nobody in the room. And we figured this will save us years of parent-child nagging about turning the lights out.
Daddy, turn off the light.
We actually do have air conditioning in this house, but we hardly ever use it. And instead, we have this overhead whole house fan. And we just, in the summertime when it gets hot, we just turn on the overhead fan, and it takes the hot air, sucks it out of the house, pushes it up into the attic where it gets exhausted, and then we just crack some windows open and the cool air gets pulled in. This not only uses a lot less electricity than an air conditioner, it also makes the house smell like the grass and the flowers and the trees instead of last night's dinner leftovers. Okay, and up here on our roof, you can see we have about 4,000 watts of solar panels. This actually generates enough energy, enough electricity, averaged over a whole year, to produce everything the house uses and then have extra left over to push back into the grid, which then our neighbors can use. It's a fixed mount, it doesn't rotate or anything. It's angled, it doesn't have to be angled perfectly, but it's angled well enough so it gets pretty good sunshine. Okay, now my wife has wanted an art studio for the whole time we've been married, and this is the year that we're finally actually building it. So we want it to be green though, so we're building a straw bale building. And what that means is that the walls are actually built out of bales of straw, literally. This is rice straw. And they're about like yay thick, so they're really thick, you get great insulation. The wood that we're using, like this wood, all this wood, is either reclaimed or it's FSC certified, so it's harvested sustainably. We've done reclaimed windows. These windows and the doors came out of old buildings that were being torn down, so we didn't have to make new ones. There's insulation up in the roof, which is actually made out of shredded up blue jeans, so it's all nice and cotton and non-toxic and everything. In the floor, one of the big environmental impacts of a new building is the concrete. Portland cement is kind of expensive environmentally to produce, so a lot of the Portland cement has actually been replaced by fly ash. Okay, and then for the main door here, we've got these nice reclaimed doors that came from an old building that was being taken down, so these get another lease on life. They get to be reused. We don't use up resources building the doors, and we need these to keep all the neighborhood wild animals out of the building. If you want to find out more about this building, if you just go on Google and look for San Jose Urban Straw Bale, you can find a whole website about it.